They call me the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
I am the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
I am the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
Greetings, humans, Daleks, Time Lords, and Vashta Nerada. You're listening to Exterminating Doctor Who.
This is the show where we take Doctor Who's most popular episodes and debate if they're really as good as their reputations.
With your hosts, Aidan Gula.
And me, George Ellis.
And in today's episode, we are talking about Silence in the Library / Forest of the Dead.
Oh, yes. A two-parter, which I reference a lot.
Yes.
And I was thinking, is it really as good as my memory serves me?
As its reputation, wink,
Way!
wink.
And I'm happy to say it's much better than I remember it.
Really?
It is, like, because as with a lot of the Tennant ones, more than anything, when I go back to watching them, I'm like, I understand this more now.
Yeah.
I still love it like I did, but I understand it more. Like, especially with this episode, actually, like, I can understand River Song more as a character, which is really... Right, Moffat, you're a wizard, because I understand River now more after seeing her earlier life, which was in the future.
Yeah. Her earlier appearance, that was her last appearance.
And
Her first
somehow
appearance
it's
was her last appearance.
No, it's somehow so incredibly written and performed by everyone that when I watch this two-parter, it's very much like I'm seeing River Song at the end of her arc. But for what's the actor's name again?
Alex Kingston.
Alex Kingston. But I do know that, but I'm a sieve. But Alex Kingston, she had to act that, and it feels very much like Alex Kingston is playing River at the end of her life. But she's younger than when she plays River late. I'm very confused, and frankly, it does stump me a little bit how Stephen managed to write that, because we're on a first name basis now. How Stephen managed to write that, it's mind blowing, frankly. And I would say this is probably it's just one of my favorite kind of appearances from River.
Yeah, we had this conversation last night where we said, is this not our favourite River episode, but is this our favourite... No, rather, let's start it again. We weren't saying, is this our favourite episode with River in it? We were saying, is this our favourite River episode? Like a favourite version of River. And it was a thought that kind of, I was thinking, because I would kind of say, well, yes, of course it is this one. But then my mind goes, well, what about Husband's River Songs? I think that kind of really nails like a lot about her. I was kind of thinking, that's interesting.
But the thing about Husband's River Song is technically it's just before this.
Yeah.
They're both
Filmed
right at the end.
7 years later.
Exactly. It's insane. But they're both right at the end of her life.
Yeah. And it's kind of like her most fully formed, isn't it? So
really, the conclusion is... Well, the easy conclusion, if we don't have to pick, is that basically River is at her best.
At the end.
Yeah. And that makes sense because we see all of her character development and her whole arc. Which is, again, weird because usually you'd say, like, I really like this character at the end of season 7 because they finally reached their arc. But no, I liked River the first time she appeared over any of her other appearances.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. Like, It's weird. It's weird. The first time we ever see her, she feels fully fleshed out and everything makes sense. But it's the first time we see her. And for me, I'd say River's best appearance is her last appearance, which is her first appearance.
Her first appearance of many and also her last appearance. No. Her first appearance of many, but also her last appearance of none. In one episode. Hey?
It's
what?
Great. And just for me, like, River I like as a character. And, like, there are moments where I just think, can we get to the good bit, you know? Like, it takes a while until it takes a while for me to like River.
Who sang that?
Can we get to the good bit?
Skip to the good bit. Oh,
my God. He's on something today, ladies and gentlemen.
Who is that?
I don't know.
You know the song, though, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't want to give this any more thought.
Ruh.
Reginald?
Rizzle kicks.
Rizzle kicks. There you go.
That's it. Anyway, carry on.
Thank you. No, but basically with River, I do like her. But for me, really, I find her a bit
Tiresome.
tiresome when canonically, when in her lifespan, when she like, it takes until she kind of meets Matt Smith's Doctor, and then after that, for me to be like, I really like this character. It's kind of like the thing with, like, as we said last week with Jack, we join Jack after he's had all that, just after, and it's just when he's getting the good bit, you know? With River, we see that bit just before, and then we get the good bit and all that stuff. That's how I feel with that. And for me, I'm like, I like River, but then I watch this two-parter, I'm like, I love River, because there's just this two-parter feels like River is fully the best character she can be.
Yeah.
And I just think, it's weird, obviously, it being the first ever appearance, but I do think, for me, this two-parter is River at her best in terms of both personality, in terms of how much she understands the Doctor and how she understands herself, and the depth of that, really. Because River, like, early on in her life, bit kind of callous towards other people, in a way.
That's the point. She was engineered to be a psychopath.
There you go.
So.
And then in this, you have some extreme compassion for every single person on the archaeological exploration team. That took me a second. The Indiana Jones team. She has compassion for every single one of them there, even though one of them's a bit annoying, you know, like that kind. Like one of them's just the CEO boss man. The other one's a bit over. I don't like the way they write Miss Evangelista. It's a bit overly ditzy. Feels off. You know what I mean?
Why was she on the team again?
As an assistant for the big boss man. Literally just an assistant, which again is playing into stereotypes.
So kind of just thinking like, well, how did she even get on? She must be smart enough to get on it, but no, she's just there, isn't she?
Which just it makes sense, like how we see her later on, but it just feels really kind of.
And I suppose when she becomes all mangled,
like it makes sense.
Then she's more smarter then, so you kind of
more smarter is that's
more smarter.
That's what you said.
She's more smarter by there. But
no, but like it just feels a bit weird. But no, the point is, with River, she's very compassionate towards everyone around her, and you see so much of the experiences she's been through, which we later see, in the way she looks at the Doctor and how the Doctor doesn't really understand anything until
I
she
like
whispers
that
his
in
name.
the sense that when she's going through the diary, I like that she mentions things that we do later see, like the Byzantium is the next time we see River, and I like that because you can tell it's obviously at the time where Moffat knows he's taking over. So he's like going, oh, let's set up my era then.
And also, just in case it didn't go through, it's good to have those names. Like if suddenly he decided to not do Doctor Who, do you know what I mean?
That wouldn't have happened, but yeah, but it's like, I suppose it's like, it's just this sense of, I like that he's
it's world building.
Setting up his, there's a lot of it in this episode actually. I'm going to try and find him. I wrote the most amount of notes I've ever written. I know I said about human nature, but I've gone and beaten it this time.
I think it's just because these are really good episodes.
Yeah. So I'm just going to waffle while I try and find that bit. But there's a lot, I find a really big sense of like, this is Moffat kind of
teasing.
He's doing it in the sense of this is still the Russell T Davies era, so let's do it like that. But there's a lot of stuff where I think this actually feels more like Moffat era than Russell Davies era. Like I think a lot of it you probably could have I think a lot of this you would have had to change some, but I think a lot of it you could have just kind of lifted it and dropped it into series 5. Do you know what I mean?
The Click being one of them. I say the Click is so Moffat era. Like it's that fantasy element. Yeah,
that's it. I have written this somewhere, but I'm really struggling to find it.
We could take a 2 to 3 minute breather while you search. This is
somewhere.
Art Attack.
Yeah, I always think of it as like waiting lift music. Oh God, where is it? I found it. I found it. Here we are. Right, there's a bit where it's, I think it's River and a few remaining archaeologist people, and they're like going, "Who is this man? Why are you going on about all this kind of time?" And she like goes, "He's the only story you'll ever tell." And I thought that quote there, just he's the only story you'll ever tell. I thought that's very much because we've said before that the Moffat era is, Davies era is soap. Moffat era is the fairy tale, and it's very much that. He's the only story you will ever tell. He's a story, he's a legend, he's this, he's that. That's way more Moffat.
It is still prevalent in Tennant, but Tennant
You get it a bit. You get stuff like
the time-
Oncoming Storm.
Yes, and I think that is
But
there.
they are more of like just passing references of like a Doctor
Yes.
gone by. You kind of, the sense of like the Doctor's this big being, everybody knows who he is a very Moffat era thing, to the point
Yes.
where there's the bit with at the end of series 6 where the Doctor goes to every database and wipes his name because he's going, too many people know about me, that kind of thing. So that's very much that kind of, he's the only story I'll ever tell, he's a legend, he's this, he's that. Yes, it does exist, of course. That makes him more interesting for the Davis era, but when they really lent into that.
Yes, it's just nice. It is that kind of making the Doctor less of a person and more of a figure, more of a symbol and that kind of thing. Kind of like a title rather than a name in a sense.
Yeah.
Which leads into the fantasy thing. It's just it's very interesting, and it's just kind of all of that is Moffat-y goodness. I love me some Moffat-y goodness.
Indeed.
Indeed. When the hell did you say indeed?
I say indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I say it on text more than I say it in person, really. But
Say hello. Feels like that. Yeah, he's smiling.
I love how because I was reading a note here and I thought I've not given myself anything there. All I wrote there was River describing the Doctor is Moffat describing what would come in his era and what his Doctor will be like. But I've not written any examples. So like, thanks for that, Aidan.
Well, I can give you one.
Just a
I can give you
loose
great
statement.
One. She mentions how she's seen the Doctor stand up against armies and use nothing but words, and then he just saunters off. And that is exactly the Pandorica openness.
That's probably what I mean then, yeah. I was reading that thinking, why, Aidan, write an example. I can't do anything with that. Ugh, that's frustrating. Anyway, just got put a little pin in this for a moment.
Rumours.
Because, well, yeah.
Oh.
They're not major, but I thought
Rumours.
I'll just say them now, because then if they are correct, then it makes us look really cool, doesn't it? So when you listen
to
back,
all our Australian fans,
when you listen back to this in like a year or so, not you, but somebody might listen back to it. Somebody might discover this a year after it's released or something.
We might actually have a job.
And they might go, oh, they were right on that, weren't they? So, you know, it's interesting for that. Firstly,
it's for our own egos.
The big one is that next episode, Legend of the Sea Devils, is supposedly going to be released on 17th of April.
This year?
Yeah. Well, it's the Easter special, isn't it?
Oh,
so.
yeah. Not far.
Yeah, that's a Sunday. Yeah, that's right. I was just checking the date. 17th of April, that is... well, it's going to come out. That's all well and good, whatever. But the thing that people are saying, it's been reported, it's not the only Doctor Who thing we're going to get that day. Apparently, an announcement will air afterwards.
Probably the new Doctor.
Which is, what does that sound like it's going to be? It could be
a Doctor Who announcement. It might be a date for when the new series, or what, like the centenary.
Yeah, it could literally. It could be when's the centenary going to air. It could just go Doctor Who will return 20th of October or something. You know what I mean? It could,
although less interesting, still nice to know.
It's still an announcement. Yes, it could be the obvious one. This is your 14th Doctor. It could be details on the 60th anniversary. Who knows what it's going to be? But that it's been reported that there is an announcement following Legends of the Sea Devils, which is like, ooh, what is that? Everybody's thinking Doctor? It might not be.
Yeah. It'd be great if it were the next Doctor. It'd be nice, because I just want to fucking know at this point.
Yeah.
But also, don't get your hopes up, because there's so many different things you can announce right now. And dates are something. So many times it's like, an announcement is coming for anything, with a game, for example, and they'll go, Gotham Knights coming out this date. And I'm like, could I have had anything else? And it's just the date. And it's nice. It's nice to know. Doesn't mean anything, really. I'd rather have, like, information about the game.
Yeah. Now, the other one is, do you remember last week when I said that Scott Hancock was rumoured for script editor?
Scott Hancock?
And it was all like, well, that rumour means nothing. Well, I follow Scott Hancock because I really like him. And he shared a casting call on his story, like shared a casting call post. And that casting call has come from a man called Andy Pryor. You'll be like, Andy Pryor is the casting director of Doctor Who ever since 2005. He's been all the way through. They've never changed casting director.
He's done something right then to somehow not be kicked off.
To not have lost that job.
Yeah.
Now, already you've got Andy Pryor, Doctor Who casting director, is put a casting call out. Now you've got a you'll regret that when I read about what the casting call is in a moment.
Okay.
And then you've got Doctor Who casting director.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who rumoured script editor is sharing that casting
It's
call.
not really a rumour then, is it? Yeah.
Then I went on to the post liked by Russell T Davies. So I kind of looked at this and went, wow, that's 3 pillars there where I've gone, this is pretty much confirmed to be Doctor Who. And what it says is open casting, BBC One, major TV drama. Wink, wink, shared by 3 Doctor Who people.
Cut to it just being like Line of Duty season 7.
And the thing is that I thought was interesting because I thought it could potentially be companion, but I doubt it because of one of the lines. But the other thing I'm thinking I think it's likely to be like family of a companion.
Mm-hmm.
I shall read it to you.
I'm tempted. Shall I apply for the job? Why am I going to regret wanting to apply for the job?
Because Andy Pryor Casting is currently searching for a young UK-based trans femme actor. You are not trans femme.
Not quite me, no.
Young looking, 17, 18, old enough to play 15, of mixed black and white heritage. This is very much not you. The character has 1 black British parent and 1 white British parent for a very nice guest lead role in a major BBC drama.
Guest lead role, so not companion.
No, but I think it could be a Mickey situation.
Yeah.
Or what was his name? Danny Pink? You know, that kind of sub.
What was his name? Danny Pink.
Sub-role,
How
yeah.
many we bitched about Danny so much?
Well, I just suddenly thought, I know Series 8 off by heart. I kind of thought,
what's his name?
what is that man's name? Because I was going to go Samuel Anderson. I thought that's the guy who plays him. No, Danny Pink. So it could be that kind of, or like a Jackie sense. But you see them every so often, but they're not.
Yeah,
they're not a companion.
They have to be a guest, so it can't be a every episode kind of thing.
Yeah, Lily, that's her name. Lily is clever, creative, and confident. But when I was reading it, I thought this sounds so companion-like. Lily is clever, creative, and confident. Lily does feel the weight of being perceived as different, but doesn't let it get in her/their way. Lily is caring, thoughtful, and very perceptive. An incredibly fast learner who will do anything she/they can do to look after those who are important. Lily has grown up in London, so accent can be anything from strong London to neutral RP. Must be available to film full-time for several weeks between May and June. This is a professionally paid project. Acting experience not required, but preferred. Curious,
Damn,
isn't it?
if only it weren't like...
If only you were black transgender.
If only.
Damn it, the straight white man strikes again.
Strikes again. God's sake. I want a gig. Because at the end it said, don't need acting experience. I was like, that's me, but like, I don't fit
Keep
any
an
of
eye on Andy Pryor, see if he
I
needs
don't fit
anybody
any
else.
of the categories.
No, but I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that could very potentially
First off,
be...
just to say, it's a nice bit of like representation and diversity.
Yeah.
It's like,
So I was looking at it, I
yeah.
thought, well, if this is Doctor Who, I thought, why on earth are they putting out a casting call? I thought it's not a student film, is it? But I suppose if they're like, we want a transgender actress to play a transgender character, it's going to be like, that could be quite hard to find.
Yeah,
So,
especially
let's
in terms,
put this out.
especially in terms of like experience, because like
Yeah.
up
Which I
until
think is why
recently,
they like
imagine like
saying-
it would have been quite tough to even get a job as
Yeah.
someone transgender. So by opening the doors, they're gonna get a lot of shit like from just people who just can't act, but also they're gonna get probably some.
There's got to
good
be
ones.
somebody good in
Yeah.
there, hasn't there? That's it for news. But you said, why is this so little? It's because we only recorded our last episode about 4 days ago.
Yes.
So we are recording this much earlier in the week than we usually do. I'll tell you what, I've just spotted this note here because quite interesting reading my
God,
notes.
are you
It's
on
like,
something today?
It's like I've been awake for a very long
Yeah, I can tell.
time. A very long
Yeah.
time, actually. I'm going to crash and any moment now.
For the audio listeners there, that would have been amazing.
That was the intention, yeah. Because most of our listeners are audio rather than video.
Oh, you're
Anyway,
missing out on our faces. They're not
faces.
amazing, so you're not missing much. But I mean, hi. You miss George's expressions, which are
George just looked to camera like Miranda.
yeah.
I feel like we spent 10 minutes talking about nonsense now, haven't we? I need to... Trim that down. Well, last bit of nonsense is that because it's not technically a review of the episode, but it is about the episode. What's really interesting is after the success of The Empty Child Doctor Dancers, which we discussed last week, so go listen to that if you haven't.
You better, or find you.
Russell Davis. I always say Russell D. Davis.
Russell D. Davis.
I've noticed. I do that a lot. Russell
Hey,
T. Davis.
you're Donna's husband.
I didn't go to sleep. Yeah, so after that episode was a success, Russell T. Davis said to Stephen Moffat, right, there's another episode. Of course, why wouldn't he? And the episode that he pitched, are you ready, was about a library that has doorways to all other libraries in the universe that is being stalked by living statues. That's every single other episode he wrote for the Russell T. Davis era. Doorways to other places, Girl in the Fireplace. Library, this one, obviously. Living statues, Weeping Angels.
You just split them off.
He just went, oh, I've got 3 ideas there. Let's do 1, 2, 3, and just split them off. I find that dead interesting. But I like that this episode, as soon as it begins, it literally tells you everything that is about to happen in the episode. It tells you every single thing. Because first off, they're in the section, where are we? We're biographies. So, we're going to be telling the story about a person. River Song. There's always a death at the end. She dies. It can't, and then it's that bit, and then there's the bit where they're looking at all the life signs.
It's foreshadowing and very much kind of...
Yeah, it's literally telling you everything that's about to happen, and then Donda's the bit where... Donda. Isn't that Kanye West album?
Let's not talk about Kanye fucking West. God's sake.
I've been making
some
street music references today.
You don't listen to street music though at all.
No.
I love the no that no.
Donda.
Right, okay. Fucking hell. 1. Right.
Anyway. Christ. And then there's the bit when they look at all the life signs, isn't there? And they realise there's a million people. And Donda goes, it can't be the books, can it? It's not the books. And then what did it turn out to be? It turned out to be the books. I kind of really like that. Like, it's literally, you watch it, you just see that first 5 minutes, you go, well, that's that then. That's it. That's all I need to know. I love the way it does that kind of foreshadowing. You kind of just brush over it, just think, whatever. And then as you go along, you think, oh, well, they've already said all of this. But it's done in a dead interesting way that I kind of really like.
For me, one thing I especially like is the fact it starts in that little corridor when he's walking down the stairs. And they're walking down the stairs to the balcony. And the episode also leans towards ending there when they're walking, right, can we just talk about the goddamn ending?
Starting at the end.
Well,
it's quite fitting for River Song, actually.
I want to a little bit because it's honestly, it is my...
Go on then, let's start there then. Random place,
right.
but...
because it's right. It's not though, you'll see.
Try and find it. Where are we?
That'll be at the end of your painting your notes, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the episode starts on that balcony.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't start there, but
well, it starts with the girl, doesn't it? And then running around.
Yeah.
And then, oh, hello.
That's the cold open.
Yeah.
But
and then we kind of loop back to getting to that bit.
But like our opening to the episode, like our introduction to the place is on that balcony. And then the episode ends with, obviously when River's dead, it ends with Donna and the Doctor just having a chat about River. Should I open the book? Should I not? All that. And ultimately they decide not to open the book and they start walking away and he leaves a screwdriver. Same balcony. So it's really, that's beautiful visual storytelling in the sense of you're watching this and you're thinking, that's the end.
The end.
Say, like, it's like it'll land subconsciously in your brain. It being the same place you start and same place you end. Because it'll feel like
and also kind of the way it just focuses on the screwdriver kind of dead slowly. You kind of expect it to just go, you kind of expect that bit to come in.
It's very much just it's a really, really brilliantly done kind of bait and switch in a way. Like you think this is the ending, and because it emulates the beginning, you believe it's the ending. And then God, Jesus fucking holy shit, when he runs back and the music, like, because it's going really soft with a bit of hope with River's I'm got goosebumps with River's narration, just a little bit, and then the moment he's like running back, that shit I noticed, like, because I watched this bit like 4 times, I noticed as like he's running back, the music doesn't change in volume, but that one note does. It's like bang, it's higher for a second when he's running back to twig you something's happening. The music goes faster, and River say, I love the line. I haven't written it down, but it's the line where she says, everybody knows everybody dies, but the whole skies had turned dark or whatever if for one moment he ever accepted it. And I love that as he, like, it's just like, it's brilliant because that's the Doctor, like, it's again showing she knows the Doctor in a nutshell. That is him. He runs back and he picks up a screwdriver and he's all excited. And then it's just it made me cry, like literally, instant weeping. Like there was no hesitation. Music did it. I was crying. He was looking at the screwdriver. He fucking legs it and it's gorgeous. And I love how he almost makes it, and I get a bit stressed because I'm like, Doc, you did a lot of explaining there instead of just the running.
Go!
Yeah, but it is a beautiful, beautiful moment, that, and it is honestly probably one of my favorite moments of Doctor Who ever because it is so Doctor Who. You think everything's over. You think, like, it's a good death, though. Like, it's a good death for River. It's the end. She sacrificed herself. It's good. Is the Doctor going to let that be her end? No. And he does something.
Save her one more time.
One more time, and it's a final saving, and it's a saving which he manages to do through all of his lives with her. Because he met her here, and because he met her here and then knew her as Matt Smith and then knew her as Capaldi, who then gave her the screwdriver, it's like all of the Doctors she's ever known save her in that moment, and it is fucking wonderful and brilliant. And it was amazing at the time because it is the Doctor in a nutshell, him not giving up on anyone. But it's amazing now because you know that it's the same Doctor who had to know that to give it to her. Because it's like David Tennant's Doctor is communicating with fucking Capaldi's Doctor through the screwdriver.
Yeah, because that's when I go, why would I have given this? He's like thinking, there's a reason I'd have done this. And doesn't he say something like, I've obviously been thinking about this for many years and I've finally worked out how to do it. And that kind of thing. I also think that because I kind of think like, well, why would Capaldi give like Tennant a screwdriver? But it's obviously got to be that he would give him the one that he would recognize.
So he knows to think like, why have I given you this?
Because if he saw like Capaldi's screwdriver, it would mean nothing to him, would it? He'd just go, what's that? Oh, it looks a bit like a screwdriver. Oh, okay. But if it's his, you'll be like, hold on, why have you got that? And that'll get him thinking. So I do like that.
I love how she says earlier as well, the red settings, and then you see it glowing red. So it has red settings.
Yeah, I have the toy of it, and I think he just kind of died and withered away like those do. You only change the batteries, but that stops working still. Yeah. And now I believe it's kind of like stuck on the red settings. Every now and then you might be able to squeeze the button enough to just go zzz. Whenever it does that, zzz, it's just red, flash red. I can't get onto blue anymore. It's just red, so I'm stuck on the red setting forever. And the other bit, the life sign thing, that just flashes every now and then. So I might be like, River! Ah! Then she dies. Like, oh no!
Fuck.
I lost her. Yeah, it is an amazing ending. Because she's dead. She is dead.
She is dead.
But there's still a bit like her consciousness kind of lives on within this thing.
Form of her consciousness at the very least lives on.
Yeah. I do find it funny though, that like she's with this archaeology team for like probably not very long just to get to this library. Then she's stuck with them for the rest of eternity.
You say this, but
I
you
find
never
that
know.
quite
Might
funny.
have known them a bit longer, but probably not. But also, yeah, poor, yeah.
I do find that quite funny. I can just imagine like that bit when she turns around, she goes, "Oh, he does that." Like, she says something like, "He managed to save them" or something as well. But I kind of think it's actually River going, "For God's sake, could I not have been left with a version of him or something like a dream version?" Said I've got to put up with these people. Ugh. Yeah, I love the way she looks at him and says like, "So you've known how I die every single time I've met you," and that's dead sad because I think with River as well, like she's cheeky, she's funny. I love the bit where it's on about the cheekiness. I love the bit where the Doctor's saying something about like, "Tell me this information. Why didn't you sign the contract?" And then River's just like goes, "Why didn't you just sign his contract? That would just sort this whole issue out." And then the Doctor says something about how he doesn't like the contract, whatever it is. And the River goes, "Yeah, I didn't sign it either." I like that kind of thing where she's trying to put him to rights, but she's just going, "Yeah, me too." I like that. I like that she is funny through it. She is just good old River.
With the heart of.
But then you
River
also get a lot of the emotion that you can see this is River, because you see like all through Husband's River song, you know that she's like saying, well, there's a lot of those kind of appearances where she's saying, "I know that when I go to Darillium, Is it her who says that or the Doctor?
No, she says.
Because I believe she says, like, I know Beryllium's the last time.
That's why
before I
she's
see
so
him.
upset, and he says that, do you know how long a day is?
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I kind of just thought, well, how would she know they're going to Beryllium? But I suppose I don't know.
She probably does. There'll be in an episode of Matt Smith's that I haven't watched.
I'm sure. Like, I've said this before. I don't know River's timeline in the correct order. Like, if you said to me, like, get every episode that she's appeared in and put them in order, I'd go, well, Husband's River Song's there, and then it goes Silence the Library, and I put my hand on my hips and go, there you go.
I can give you the beginning as well.
And it'd be like, well, what's the other ones? And I go, not a clue. I cannot.
Let's
tell
Kill
you.
Hitler. That's all I got.
Well, even that, it's like, because then you'd have to pick scenes. You can't do it by episode.
Well, that's
then you
not
have to do
technically the beginning,
scenes.
because the beginning is like when you see. Oh God.
Well, beginning will be when she's born. Then she grows up into that little white girl in the Impossible Planet. The little white girl then regenerates into Mel. Mel then lives out her life to Let's Kill Hitler. Mel then turns into River Song. Then we go backwards, and we go forwards, and we go backwards again, then we go forwards. And I just get confused.
Yeah. Okay, right. Rivers.
And then in Name of the Doctor, she shows up dead. So that's technically after Silence in the Library. Yeah. Confusing. I don't get it. I've lost my point now. I can't even think what I was trying to say. Yeah.
River, funny, serious. We get the emotion as well.
Yeah. It's just that kind of thing you're saying about it being like alternate River Song. Just seeing her realization that every single time you've been with me, you've known how I die. That's what I was going to say. Because she's funny and you see her be cheeky, and Moffat always said sexy. That was the word he wanted to use for all these kind of things. But it's actually a really tragic story. Because we know it being tragic from the Doctor's perspective, yes. Because the first time he meets her, she dies. Of course, we know that. But from her perspective, you kind of forget that. Like, especially in the sense that, like, the first time here when she meets him, she just assumes they know each other. And then the Doctor's just not got a clue. And that's like heartbreaking. That somebody you love the most in the universe would look at you and you just have no idea who you are.
And how she can recognize how young he is through his eyes. It's beautiful, that. And it's the idea that as a fellow time traveler, of course, she can recognize that. It's just.
And then it's one of those things that all connects together as well. Because we did The Impossible Astronaut a few weeks ago, where she says, there's a worse day coming for me. That worst day is the day she meets the Doctor and he has no idea who she is. So clever. Moffat's a genius.
Insane.
Yeah.
But a genius.
I can only imagine how stressed it made him.
God.
But
I'm glad it paid off, though, because it is a very good arc.
Right, I tell you what, the other thing, last thing I want to say about River.
I'll have another thing which leads on to the Doctor, so that'll be a good ending.
Right, that's a good way. I'll do this, and then you do that, and then we'll get on to the Doctor. Then from the Doctor, we can go on to Donna, and it will all fall into place. In hindsight, it's pretty bloody obvious that they're setting it up to be the Doctor's wife.
Yeah.
And in part 2, I'd say that's especially clear when you get you're actually like an old married couple. And the Doctor's face
that is just on the
drops.
nose. That is completely on the nose.
Yeah. But if you think about, like, at this time, what would people have thought? Part 1 is kind of suggesting she's a future Doctor. Because it's telling you she's a time traveller. She's got a sonic screwdriver. She's got a TARDIS diary. When she's like saying stuff like, have we done this yet? I don't think she ever says, have I done this with you yet? By the way, her just saying, have we done this? It's kind of like when doctors meet up and they go, have we done that? Have we done that? And you kind of think, like, from hindsight, if you're thinking about how would people have reacted to this at the time, I think it's very obvious. I think it's very possible that people could have watched this and gone, oh my God, she's a future Doctor. And I find that kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that Dr. Moon from the Dream World was in Moffat when he was writing it. In Moffat's head, that was a future version of the Doctor. As he was writing it, he was like going, as far as I'm concerned, Dr. Moon is a future version of the Doctor, as he was writing it. And there's a bit where, in that world, there's a lot of stuff where he says, I'm the Doctor, this kind of thing. You go, ooh, now that's weird. And there's also a bit I noticed where the dad...
I didn't know that.
Yes, there's a bit where the dad says to the girl, sweetie, sweetie. And he says it twice. And you kind of think, now that's what River's song says. So you kind of think, like, what is this world? How is this connected to the Doctor? Who is River Song? And you could even at that point go, is River Song the girl? Do you mean there's a lot of stuff where there are a lot of mysteries? A lot of things, like, because the mystery in hindsight, we know it.
But at the time, it's written in such a way to make.
But if you watch, I was watching it.
Enough red herrings to confuse you.
Exactly. I was watching it. I was watching it thinking, how would I have reacted if this was me watching it at the time? And episode 2 is when it goes, it's the wife. Okay, I'm with you now. It just basically just confirms that for you. But part 1 is very much leading you to, is this the Doctor from the future? Is this the girl from the future? Like, what is going on here? It's kind of like, why does the dad say sweetie? Why does she have a TARDIS diary? Like, what? I just found that was really interesting.
Like with the what was this about the Dr. Moon thing? Like, is that like supposed to be a possibility of a future version of the Doctor?
It's not in the sense of like how the curator is like, the curator's like, I'm the curator, wink, wink, I'm the Doctor.
Yeah.
It was just that Moffat was writing it going, this is kind of like in his own head. So not in Doctor Who lore, he isn't.
No.
But in Moffat's head, it was a future Doctor. Just as he was writing
even when it was fully written. Still in his head.
Shall I see if I can find any information about it while you were...
Because I found that quite fascinating, because I found Dr. Moon's character... Like, I was going to say, like, I find Dr. Moon's character, like, extremely interesting. Is he just an antivirus software? Is there more to that?
They do say at the end, like, the Dr. Moon... Like, they do say it's just a part of the system.
But is it more? And I like the actor. He was nice. Wouldn't mind him as a Doctor. I like him as a Doctor, actually.
There you are. At the time of production, Moffat privately intended Dr. Moon to be a future Doctor. In a 2008 email to Russell T Davies, Moffat explained that River Song was in fact the Doctor's widow and had witnessed the death of the 45th Doctor on a battlefield before she began having adventures with his younger selves.
Well, that doesn't really pan out.
No, exactly. So I'm saying this isn't what happened. This isn't true. This isn't canon. But as he was writing it, it's just what he was imagining. So in Moffat's head, like, this was the 45th Doctor. He died. His mind got uploaded to this library to then kind of help the younger version upload River Song to the library to join him. Kind of make sense.
It's interesting.
Not what happened.
No. And imagine if Moffat had waited until the 45th Doctor to do this story. Dude would have been in the database himself. That's fascinating. Interesting. It's interesting to think like 45th Doctor. Just think about that for a second. Do you think we're ever going to get to that point? Obviously not in our lifetimes. But do you think
that would be a long way away,
but do you think they'd ever get to that?
I doubt it.
I'd like to think they would. I like to think Doctor Who is forever running, like it would never end. In that sense.
But it could keep going like indefinitely, but probably not as a TV show.
Yeah. Maybe even like a comic book series. It's often
it
what
could
happens.
Be a comic or a brain download or whatever the technology is by then.
God, that'd be nice.
A tattoo that moves. I don't know.
Speaking of tattoos, I'm thinking of getting one. Don't listen to this, Mum and Dad. They kill me.
Well, when did they last listen to the podcast?
Fuck knows.
So you get a message going, I'm listening right now, actually, George.
Oh, they don't talk like that. I don't talk like that.
Well, it was trying to be commanding.
Yes.
I'm listening right now.
Yes, and you went with like
say hello.
really old, like fucking wartime speak. I'm listening right now.
I'm listening to the podcast right now on BBC One.
I say hello. Oh, gorgeous. I love it. Right.
That was when I put my hand on him, that's when I do my Bane voice, that is. What is he? Batman. That's what I do.
You were born. I was molded by it.
Oh, God, I'm so delirious today.
The thing is, I'm going with this bollocks that you're spewing. This is the problem.
Back to Doctor Who. Right. Ooh. Last thing about River, because it will then take me on to Donna. Donna. I love that when River... we've said this before. I love how River is doing this. The last story I'll ever tell, an amazing man, this thing, and he can bring down armies, this kind of thing. She's being all mystical and poetic, which is nice and beautiful, and I love the way that writes. But then I love the Donna response of, do you know him or don't you? What are you doing? I just love the way she's just like, I don't have time for this.
It's so Donna, though. And it's relatable, because it's like, for fuck's sake, right, for us, we understand all the stuff she's on about.
Yeah.
But for Donna, she's just like, fucking what? Just tell me, you fucker, if you know her. Like, just tell me.
Yeah. I just
Do
love
you
the
know?
way...
That's so Donna, though. Do you know her or what? Like, it's so
I just love the way she's just like,
sassy.
it's like we're listening to all the pretentious kind of dialogue, but that we love and it's poetic and it's beautiful. But she's just like, oh, I don't have time for this. Just, I love that. And Donna as well. Part one.
Donna's such a good friend to the Doctor as well, though.
Part-
But that feels like she's doing. Sorry, that feels like she's doing it for herself, but also for the Doctor in a sense. Like, just fucking tell him. Like, it's quite like she's a really good friend.
Yeah. And I think kind of in part one, she doesn't get a whole lot to do. She's very funny.
I feel like she's still important though. She has a lot of important moments.
Yes, I agree, but because like the
She's
whole
not the
stuff with
focus,
a lot of the stuff with Evangelista, how she's the only one who's nice to her and all that kind of stuff. That is great, but I do kind of, I would say like one of the negatives I wrote, which probably drops me down a point or so, would be that I think a lot of this episode's kind of a bit of standing around, and at times I kind of go, come on, can we get a bit of action here? It's kind of just, oh, don't look at that shadow. Oh, then there's another shadow. Oh, don't go over there. Oh, to the Vashta Nerada. It's like, come on, get on with it. There are a couple of moments where I do find I go, right, stop. Everybody, you're just standing still. Move. There are a few moments like that, but I agree that she is very important there. I love that the journey, though, that Donna kind of goes on is that I love that when the episode starts, as in part one, how she literally does not want to be there at all. And she's always like, we were supposed to go to the beach and we're at a library. And the Doctor says all these things, and you just see her face. Like, she's not even saying something, but if you just look at Donna, she's just there like, oh. Like, he's just talking like, biggest library in the universe, biggest hard drive, you've seen all these things you should be amazed by. She's just like,
I mean, I wouldn't be amazed by it either.
she's like, why are we in a library? And then they're like,
If someone promises me a beach and we're not at a fucking beach, I'm going to kill him.
yeah. And then like, even the bit where he's like going, it's a lot. He's going, it's quiet. And she goes, we're in a library. Like, of course it's going to be quiet. Like, she just does not care. But then by the end, the very end, well, not the very end, because there's a bit when she doesn't want to leave, but just by the end of like, you know, her emotionally, she doesn't want to leave because then she's found her perfect husband and a perfect family and a perfect world. And she's like, actually, she wants that. And when she loses it, absolutely devastating. So from being in this place you do not want to be in to now, like, I do not want to leave. I have found the perfect life for myself here. And I find that's actually really like, Donna is, we said this in our Turn Left episode. So go listen to that one.
But we've plug our own shit more.
But we've said, but I like hopping. I love people hop around.
You need the context.
Exactly. Because we don't do the episodes in order, so you need to do it in the order we've discussed them.
Yes.
I love that. Yes, she is funny. She's always funny. I love her for that. But actually, there is a real depth to her, and actually, a lot of kind of really tragic stuff happens to her that I think you kind of not overlook or forget. But I think sometimes if you think of series 4, think of Donna. Like the first thing, if you speak to most people about Donna, the first thing that person will say is she was so funny. It's going to be the first thing. Then she'll probably say she was such a good friend to challenge the Doctor. I think you'd have to get like 3 or 4 down the list before she went through some real shit. I think you'd have to kind of think about that. Yes, it's obvious because you get here, turn left, and she gets a mind erased. So she does really happen to her. But I think it's kind of one of those things where, at least for me, you don't forget, but you do kind of just put it to the back of your mind how much she actually went through. And the end, this episode, this episode ends with her and the Doctor both being absolutely traumatized. You can see it when they're talking like, is I'm fine, Time Lord, for I'm really not. Because if it is, I'm fine. You see they are actually really broke. Both of them are really broken by the end of it. And I kind of really like that. Like I said to you when I was watching it, and I have come around and actually disagreed with myself, but as I was watching it, when there's the scene where she loses those children, I was watching it going, this is probably what Catherine Tate's best acting. And you went, no, Turn Left does exist. And I was like, right you are. Yes. But I do think this is very, because Catherine Tate is an actually trained actress. She's not just a comedian who got lucky or something. She's an actual actress who was trained, and this kind of, she went to drama school, that kind of thing. And I think you get a scene like this where she's looking at those children when they disappear and she's just distraught.
Fuck me.
It's like this. It's the scene where you go, oh, you can act.
I think I said this to you yesterday, Doctor Who really just kind of feels like it gave Catherine Tate the ability to just kind of show off her acting capabilities. Then name another show where she's able to give this depth.
Not that I've seen.
Exactly. She has other shows, but they're more the comedy. Whereas this show shows you that.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's probably done it on like stage or something.
Yeah.
But, I don't go to the theatre.
But this is the thing that I do sometimes. But if it's not Shakespeare, for some reason I don't.
She did do Shakespeare with David Tennant, didn't she?
Yeah, I know, and I didn't see it because it was young.
It was about 10 years.
Which is a bit annoying. Like it's like
Do it again.
David Tennant and Catherine Tate, do Shakespeare again in my fucking living room, please. I don't have a living room, so it would just be in my bedroom. But please, I just want Catherine Tate and David Tennant in my bedroom. To be honest,
She's going to be at Wales Comic Con as well.
Is David Tennant?
Yeah.
Why are we not going? Why are we not going? We're going. I have a car. We can drive.
Right,
Let's go on holiday.
Sound like Borat then. I have a car. I have a car.
I have a car.
I have a chair. King of the castle.
King of the castle. King of the castle. I have a car. Okay. I have Brum Brum Machine. We're going to take that fucker. I'm not kidding. I'm going to talk about this for like 5 minutes unless you tell me yes.
I'm going to Google it. Carry on the podcast. I'm going to Google.
But no, this two-parter really... This whole show allows Catherine Tate to just show off how she can act. Because that moment where the kids are dead, which I'm just kind of like, well, they're not real, so just let them go. But also, fucking traumatizing the way she's screaming. And it's a very real reaction because there are so many stories of parents who lose their children, and it is that gutter, that pure, like, unrelenting, just primal despair and rage at that. And it is horrifying. And it is so brilliantly portrayed by Catherine there that it actually it's not a scene you'd like to watch. I don't want to watch it again for another couple of years because it is fucking traumatizing. Because it's not just traumatizing in the sense of you see the pain of what she goes through during Turn Left. It's a pain of losing something. So it's less, so it's more raw. It's that kind of, it's exactly that same feeling we got with Tennant in Human Nature, Family of Blood. It's that kind of selfless pain in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas it hits a bit harder. And same kind of with Catherine. She's lost something and it's that pain over losing that thing. So it's a mourning kind of pain. And that mourning despair fucking hurts more. Or it appears to hurt more because it's so raw, you know? It's terrifying. And Catherine Tate, fucking hell. Well done. Well done.
It's only 2 weeks away.
Don't know why I ever fucking said I didn't like Donna. I want to shoot myself.
Now, that's the thing I was going to ask you, because I was listening to our Love and Monsters episode the other day. Now, for a bit of context here,
He's not just a narcissist.
Why the hell are you listening to your own podcast, you lunatic? It's because my boyfriend's watching Doctor Who at the moment. We watch the episodes together. A lot of the time, he likes to listen to the podcast that we've done. So, but because of spoilers, I have to listen to them back to be like, do we talk about anything that would be like, oh, I can't talk about that. So I listen to them back just to hear. Now, what's really interesting about listening to those old ones, especially episode 1, is how much our knowledge has grown, because I am going to correct myself here. I say the bit where, do you know when Time Lords communicate and they go contact? Do you know that? Mm-hmm. I say connect in that episode. And I was listening to it. I was like, it's the kind of thing I was saying to you yesterday.
Makes you a bit cringe.
I was cringe because I was going, Aidan, that's wrong. Aidan, no, get it right. Aidan. I was like doing that. So A, that's really interesting. And B, how much our opinions have changed.
Yeah.
Because you say in that episode that not only is Donna your least favorite companion, but you think she's the worst. Now, in hindsight, it's very predictable that you'd now say, no, Ryan's the worst, probably followed by Graham, then Yaz, then Dan, then Clara.
Like, who's the best?
But if we were just condensing it down to ignore those ones, cut those ones out, let's just take this down to the Russell T Davies era. Because that's your era, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Bye.
Is she still your
I didn't even mean to do that. And that's like, my mannerisms are David Tennant. Like, fucking hell.
Yes.
I've got not an original bone in my body, you fucker.
No. Would you still say that Donna is, let's just condense it down to the Russell T Davies era, would you still say that Donna is A, the worst companion, B, your least favourite companion?
No. First off, she's not the worst. There are so many others that are just pointless. Like, she's nowhere near the worst. She's closer to the best, honestly. I'd say the way it works is, I'd say probably when it comes to being the best, I'd probably put Donna down with being the best because...
Objectively,
yes.
Yeah.
She's just the best. Because, honestly, I'd say she's my third... would I say she's objectively the best? Yes. I was just thinking Sarah Jane just popped into my head there. and I love Sarah Jane. But in terms of being the best, but no, actually no.
I'd say I said this yesterday, but
It's really tough.
I've gone back on my opinion again. I'd say that overall, classic and New Who, everything.
Sarah Jane.
Sarah Jane is the definitive companion.
Yes.
She's everything. She has that kind of sense that if she leaves, she still wants to do those doctory things.
But
I think
I was just thinking,
she is
yeah,
the definitive one.
like I was thinking.
But if you had to say New Who only, goodbye Sarah Jane, it is Donna.
Yes, because I was just thinking, like, Donna stands up to the Doctor. Who does Sarah Jane stands up to the Doctor. Like, fine. It's like everything.
Yeah.
Donna does it to a bit more of a degree sometimes, but honestly, I think like everything Donna can do, Sarah Jane also did. The comedy, that is like Donna is kind of a specialty, but like I would say, okay, right, you can quote me on this. Best companion of all time ever. I would put Sarah Jane number 1.
Yeah.
Just wonderful.
I think most
Elizabeth
people
Sladen.
would, yeah.
I miss her so fucking much. Like, just incredible. 1,000,000 out of 10 right there. Second best companion of all time, I'd give it to Donna.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And then from so on and so forth, I'd just continue there. Like, you can put like, and then you can just put kind of bundle
If it was
up.
a tier list, they'd be the S, and then everybody else would go below.
Yeah. Like, I'd probably put Martha quite close, but I'm just thinking about Bill. I put Martha above Bill, and then probably Rose just under Bill. And then, so what do you want? Do you want a favourites or do you want like best?
Well, do you want Russell T Davies era because that's your era, or do you want everybody?
I would do everybody.
Everybody. Okay, so for companion, I'm counting somebody who joined the TARDIS and travelled in the TARDIS.
Yes.
That's what I'm counting.
Okay.
So some people count Wilf, but Wilf never actually travelled in the TARDIS.
The problem with
he just went from A to B.
Yeah, I can't put Wilf. Even if I were doing Wilf, I can't even put him that high. I love him, but I can't put him that high because he's like, I wouldn't even class him as a companion in my mind. You know what I mean?
Right, these are the ones you've got to rank. There's a nice little section. The reason I'm doing this section is because, Aidan, you're just wasting time here. You should be talking about Silence of the Library. The reason I'm doing it is because you've done a Doctor ranking before.
Yeah.
And I'm quite interested to know how this is updated from episode
I'm gonna make
So,
a change here actually in terms of my favourite companion. Because
okay, these are the ones I'm going to get you to rank. I'm only doing New Who.
Okay.
Sarah Jane will not be included.
there's the thing. Because I was literally about to. Let me just say for the podcast,
she's never a companion in New Who.
Yes, let me just say, like, just in terms of all-time Doctor Who, my favourite companion is Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Like, she
But I
just
will
takes
not be including her.
the full cake.
Yeah.
Incredible.
You've got 15. Rose, Mickey, Adam, Jack, Martha, Donna, Amy, Rory, Clara, Bill, Nardole, Ryan, Yaz, Graham, Dan.
Okay.
Go, quick fire.
Number 1,
Let's start at 15.
Start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Ryan right at the bottom.
That'll be easier.
Ryan at the bottom.
Ryan.
Then Graham.
Graham.
Then Yaz.
Yaz.
Who else are there?
Of the new ones.
Yeah. Dan.
Yeah, okay.
Then who else have we got?
Remaining, we have Rose, Mickey, Adam, Jack, Martha, Donna. Oh, you got about
Adam, yeah.
Adam lower.
Adam goes under Dan.
Under Dan, so above Yaz.
Under Yaz.
Above Graham.
Under.
Above Ryan.
No.
You put in Adam bottom.
No, like.
Oh, he's
Ryan, Adam.
Ryan's dead last.
Ryan
still.
takes dead last because at least Adam was interested to be there.
That's true.
Ryan will always be at the bottom of my list, no matter what.
All right.
Who else did you mention that I don't really care for? Name them again. Go.
Rose, Mickey, Jack, Martha, Donna, Amy, Rory, Clara, Bill, Nardo. Got 10 left.
Oh, I like these ones now. Clara.
Clara.
No.
Oh.
The thing with Mickey is I like Mickey's character sometimes, but it's the actor that really kind of tarnishes it a bit for me.
Just ignore that.
Okay, just ignore it. Victorian Clara, I'd put quite high. Actual Clara just annoys me. Right, Mickey.
After Clara.
No, just now. Put Mickey now.
Oh, okay.
And then Clara above.
Oh.
Just because, I don't know, Mickey can rub me up the wrong way sometimes. Just, I don't know.
Bit useless at the start.
Yeah. Later on, I like him, but it's like Clara, beginning, I like her. Then it's like, they're very close. They're very close. I love Nardole. Narwhals swimming in the ocean, causing a commotion. I'm thinking about Rory and Amy right now. Do I put Nardole above or below them? Nardole's good, but he's not really a great companion. Like, he's funny and I love him. Nardole. Then Rory, then Amy. Like, Rory at below Amy.
Yep, we're in the top 5 now.
Who's left?
Rose, Jack, Martha, Donna, Bill.
Rose, Jack, Martha. Bill.
Okay.
So Rose, Jack, Donna, Martha. These are my last ones.
Rose, Jack, Donna, Martha. Rose, Jack, Donna. Yeah. Couldn't count there, could you see?
Jack.
Right.
Rose.
Right.
Donna, then Martha.
Okay, so your complete companion ranking is, before we do carry on with Science of the Library, because we're running out of time, but it's fine. So your complete companion ranking is, dead last, 15th, Ryan. Then we've got Adam. Then we've got Graham. Then we've got Yaz. Then we've got Dan. Then Mickey. Then Clara. I've lost my numbers. Yeah, we're top 10. So Clara, Nardole, Rory, Amy, top 5. Bill, Jack, Rose, Donna, Martha. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It might fiddle around a bit.
Very interesting.
It will fiddle around a bit.
Yeah.
And I say objectively, I do think Donna is a better companion.
But you just prefer.
But Martha just has a place in my
personally.
heart, really.
Yeah.
And there are moments when I relate to Martha. So, yeah.
Right. We are running out of time, but nobody has this room afterwards. So we do have a bit of leeway. Who's he? Now, the thing I have a few points about like the alternate world. I find that really interesting. WandaVision before WandaVision.
It's just the Matrix.
I love
literally just the Matrix.
I love how they cut between scenes and they know they're cutting between scenes. I love that whole concept. It's kind of thing where you go, could this have just been its whole story on its own? I think that could have got really boring because I think it does kind of lose me a little couple of places.
Whenever I think back,
I think the girl kind of, she loses me a couple of times. The girl, I don't know why. Just sometimes she kind of does stuff, and I think, oh, can we go back to the Doctor? Or can we go back to Donna? Like
whenever I think back this episode, I'd always kind of think back to the library itself, and this would be kind of a tacked on element.
Yeah,
because it does feel a little bit tacked on, but it is important.
I like it. It's important. I like it,
but it's not.
When you've got like essentially 3 storylines running together, you've got the Doctor and River. You've got Donna's Westview world, and you've got the girl. I'm kind of going, can we have less of the girl, more Donna, and more Doctor, please? That's just kind of how I feel. And I didn't write many negatives. I did write some, though. But one of the ones I wrote is there's a bit that I kind of really don't like, and it's the bit where Cal is watching the TV, and she's watching them on the TV, and Murray Gold's soundtrack is playing through the TV. I really didn't like that.
Why not?
Because it makes me feel like Doctor Who exists within Doctor Who, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like there's a Moffat episode
without the soundtrack, I think you would have liked it.
Without soundtrack or a different soundtrack, I'm with you. But the fact we've got music we know, like the Doctor's theme and that kind of thing, on the TV, and she's watching it, therefore that is in-universe music, I don't like.
It's kind of like when Star Wars made the Imperial March. Like in a Solo Story, they made the Imperial March a propaganda theme for the Empire. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I recognize that, but it shouldn't be here because it's not.
It's like, no, that's what we hear. They don't hear that.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're not thinking, oh, they're always running around with can they hear that? I don't like that concept. Yeah. That kind of just
there's only ever one time in my entire kind of life when there's been something I like being an in-universe theme, like something they hear, and that's with the Doom soundtrack, because the Doom Slayer should protrude heavy metal music when he's killing demons.
Right. That was one of them. Another negative I wrote is, and I'll lead this now onto my next section, which could potentially be our final section, which will leave out the Vashta Nerada.
Oh yeah, forgot about those.
There's a lot of similarities here between this and the Empty Child Doctor Dancers.
Yeah. Everybody lives.
Everybody lives, they say. It's the exact same cliffhanger. They're backed against a wall as the zombies approach them. Next episode, we're out.
I forget.
It's the exact same cliffhanger. Yeah. There are a lot of those similarities. And one of the other similarities is we've said a lot in this podcast how much we love the Vashta Nerada. However, when I was watching it yesterday, I kind of thought, you've done this already. it is literally the empty child.
Mm.
It's the exact same being. Because I wrote, it's walking zombies. They're dead bodies who become that way by little microscopic beings who have a repeating phrase. One is, "Are you my mummy?" This one is, "Who turned out the lights?" And if they get to you, if they touch you, you'll become like them. As I was watching it, I was going, Moffat, this is the empty child. You've already done this monster. You've put it in a spacesuit and you've called it a different name. And instead of nanogenes, they're now just microscopic little beings. But I was like,
Piranhas.
yeah, piranhas in the air. But I was like, this is the exact same monster.
Yeah. I love them though.
Yeah, I do.
They like, and it, to be fair, makes sense. Like in terms of the galaxy, there's going to be similar monsters.
Yeah, but I kind
And
of
this
just
one is
think,
purely
like,
an enemy, whereas the other one's just a bit confused.
I suppose so, yeah. But I kind of just, I was thinking, saw this last week.
Yeah. Honestly, if we hadn't seen them back to back, I wouldn't think something similar.
No, but that is kind of, you know, I've said this before. I do think about the schedule. I do purposely put things together when there are similarities, and I think this is one of
This
the
is
places where
beyond similarity.
this is kind of a. I don't know if I'd have ever drawn up this similarity if I hadn't watched them like week after week. But doing that, I kind of go, see, it's the exact same monster with the exact same cliffhanger.
Yeah.
They even have the squareness gun, which is from that episode. I'm like going,
Maybe, but that makes me feel like Moffat knew it was something similar when he was writing, and he was like, "I'm just a little nod." To the inspiration in a way.
yeah.
I love how when it's a squareness gun, the Doctor immediately turns many sort of. I love it when the Doctor's always like, "I'm serious." Oh, squareness gun! I love it.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, they did that a few times this episode. Or kind of really like, because Series 4, everybody knows Series 4 is the best series of Doctor Who. There's no point debating it. This is the peak of Doctor, peak popularity, peak everything. Everything was just perfect in this series. And something I really liked is actually right at the start is I love how this it goes from funny to deadly serious to funny again, just like that. But it doesn't feel jarring. It feels absolutely perfect. And
it doesn't feel like Marvel. How at the moment it feels a little bit funny time now.
When somebody will
time.
literally be like dying, and they'll be like, "Time for a joke," and it's like, "Shut up." But like, there's a bit like it was at the start. I wrote, it's the bit where the Doctor's saying, "I've had her help me," kind of thing, and Donna's like, "With a kiss," like that. Super funny. Then the lights are all going out. And it's like proper scary at that point. Like, why are the lights going out? And then Donna's like, and then there's the bit where the Doctor's going, "No, it doesn't do wood." And then
It doesn't do wood.
And then it's just Donna's like, "What?" There's her being this. We've gone from funny to scary to frustrated. Then we go back to funny when Donna just goes, "Did we just run from a power cut?" It's like, what are we doing? Like that. I just like the way it really balances that. I really love the tone of this. The thing about the Vashta Nerada I did like is that it's a very niche thing. It's actually what the Doctor does, actually. But I like that he recognizes them immediately. And this is something you said before as well, is that what we see on the TV show is not everything the Doctor does. We have to remember they have other adventures. And I like
we don't see him have a wee. And he does it.
Never see him sleep. And I like that. It's funny, in the Sixth Doctor era as well, they always used to like come out, him and his companion used to come out the TARDIS. He should be like, "You're never cooking again," and that kind of thing. He'd be like, "Oh, I can't imagine the Doctor just with a little pinny on making something." Anyway, I liked that how the Doctor, because I like when the Doctor goes on a mystery, try and work out what the monster is and that kind of thing. Of course, I love all that. But sometimes you think, let's get to the point. And I like that sometimes you just see a monster and he goes, "Vashta Nerada." There's no like, "What are you? What are you called?" "Oh, Vashta Nerada." He just knows what they are immediately. I like that. Then it opens you up to what other adventures has he had where he's met the Vashta Nerada.
And also it kind of opens up the idea that in the universe, some things are like more native and he knows of them and they come around a lot, and other things are just pure mysteries to him.
Yeah.
And it really kind of solidifies the idea of him being a really smart being, and also the idea that he has a wider life. Because I do love how he said, like with the Vashta Nerada, it's like they usually just hunt in little packs in forests. They live off roadkill. And Donna's like, "I mean, they're not on Earth," and he's like, "Yeah." Like exactly like that. And it's like, we were.
Yeah.
It's great.
Also, I
notice how that came so naturally, because it's literally him in my brain.
Yeah, I also like that, like, 'cause it's one of those episodes that really builds the tension again. Really tense. Ooh, what is this? That thing you always say, if you don't see the monster, it makes it scarier. That kind of thing. You go, "Ugh." But that can only last so long.
Yeah.
Like in Alien, you need the tummy burst. You need that to get you to go, "We can't, well."
It's a chest burster. It's officially a chest burster.
Well, I suppose so, but I would say it's a bit lower down. Anyway, because I suppose we could put more prosthetics down there, can't you? But anyway, like I said, that can only last so long. It gets to the point where you do need to see something. And I like that it is building, but then eventually it does just go, right, let's show you what this monster can do now. Because it's all well and good you saying, like, it will eat your flesh, it will do this, it will get you, it will get that. But then when we see the skeleton, you go, oh, right, that's what it does. And I like that. Because what I also love about that is you can kind of look at it and go, that skeleton looks cheap because it's just plain white. But then you could go, that's because they eat every single organic element. There's not going to be a drop of blood or sinew or tissue or anything left on it. It's all going to be gone.
It's a brilliant like storytelling method to be scary, but also really helps the art department out.
And allows it to be aired pre-watershed.
Just the skeleton, it's great. And I love that they demonstrate that with the chicken leg as well, when it's very well done that.
The way it just throws, you see them throw it as a chicken leg, then it lands as a bone.
I love how there's nothing there, like it is pure bone. And you can tell someone in the art department got a meal out of that.
Someone's just going, probably give it to like a dog or something. Or there's just somebody going, licking it. That was weird noises. If you're only on audio, because I was behind the microphones, you wouldn't see that on video. No. But on audio, all you heard then was blah, 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 blah. That's going to be like,
I can just imagine going around the corner to see the art department's like runner, Dave. Dave, are you all right there? I'm getting the chicken legs ready. Do you know what
that reminds me of? I just did that noise then. Thought, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. When Johnny Depp goes to...
I knew you'd... What? I was literally talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory last night to someone about how much you love this. And so the fact you're talking about it now...
It's really weird and proves your point. Yeah. But also, do you know that when he goes to Lumperland, or what it's called, Oompa Lumperland, and he speaks to them, and he just goes, la 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 la. That's what it reminded me of there. My God, I'm delirious today. Yeah. Have you got anything left to say?
Vashta Nerada.
I do have notes here and there. But
I do find the Vashta Nerada quite scary, and I have said it before, they're my favourite Moffat villain.
But that's also because he's done them before.
He has done them before. But like now, not that scary. Doesn't like hit me on the really scary side. No. When I was younger, fucking terrified of the idea of them.
It's a great visual though, of like the skeleton.
Oh no, they're great. Like what I'm trying to say is like
great.
Doctor Who is kind of it's a family kids show, really, in a way. So as a kid, I found these terrifying. Yes. So therefore, very good monsters.
Therefore, this show works.
Yes.
But as you get older, you do kind of go, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
Books.
So you've not got anything else to add?
Honestly.
Give me your final opinion.
Obviously, I've got a lot of notes here, but we've really just covered the main points.
Yeah, I have some stuff that's kind of left, but there was one of those kind of things you go, they're minor points, really. Like the directing is great in it. I love the bit where we're in the park and it does it in a really clever way to not show you any of the kids' faces first. I think that's really commendable.
All in all, this whole it is all creepy. Like all of it is creepy. All of it, you know. That's interesting about Doctor Who. It's a sci-fi show, but it's scary. You know, that's only just like that's. Yeah, think of that. Like I always think Star Trek, not scary. Star Wars, not scary. No, but Doctor Who, why was it ever decided to be scary?
I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I was actually saying I don't really like sci-fi. Like generally, as a rule. I don't usually like sci-fi. Like Star Wars isn't really sci-fi. It's fighting fantasy, space adventure.
It's a Wild West. It's a Western mixed in with
samurai. That you know what I mean? It's not actually sci-fi. When you watch something that is real sci-fi, I'd say of the big ones, Star Trek is the one that is real sci-fi. Yes. Bores me to tears. Absolutely bores me. The 3 J.J. Abrams era films, I like them because he was like going, you know, all the things about Star Trek that Star Trek is famous for. Get rid of them. Yeah. Let's make this Star Wars, and he made them interesting.
I really like
except the second one.
Yeah, but you skip this. You watch the second one for the third one.
Third one's the best. But so I like those ones because it's nothing like Star Trek. If you watch real Star Trek, you're sitting around going, so what happens if we go down to this planet? Should we consider the ethical considerations? And you sit there and you go, Jesus Christ, get a gun out. This is so boring.
I know.
I hate that kind. That's what most sci-fi is. And I generally don't really like it. But Doctor Who is a really interesting one in that, like, especially this era, where you get soap meets sci-fi meets horror. And that's when it becomes really interesting to me. When you bring in all these elements, because sci-fi, you can do anything with it. Make it a historical period drama.
Sci-fi isn't...
Now let's make it a scary horror piece. They're the cool things. What I really like about Doctor Who.
Sci-fi is more of a theme rather than a genre in a way.
Yeah.
Because you can do lots of things within it.
It's a theme, but you can make it a genre. And when you make it a genre, that's when you absolutely lose me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, final thoughts. Give me a rating, please.
Honestly, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Really? I'm going to give it an 8.
Really? I love this two-parter so much.
As I was going into it, I was thinking, well, this is a 10 out of 10 story. I absolutely love it. And then I was kind of watching it going, a bit boring me. Are you kind of just standing around?
It didn't lose me at any point. I couldn't, like, for me, yeah. I loved it both.
That's the thing. I was like thinking, I thought, all right, come on, get on with it a bit. And I thought that you've dropped, I'd say you dropping me down to a 9. I'm dropping you down to a 9, which is still obviously an amazing score. But I thought that's because I'm just a little bit like, have I got any messages? Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You kind of just slightly lose.
I get distracted, but that isn't to do with the thing. It's just to do with, I think I'm a bit.
Yeah. And then I'd go down to an 8 just because I find it's not one that I can rewatch too often. Whereas there are others we have done where I can watch them loads. Like I was saying, Human Nature, we did that the other week. I was literally watching clips from that like a few weeks before, and then I was able to watch the episode. That's an amazing episode to me. Whereas this one was kind of a bit like, I feel like I'm going to give it a little bit of a break. The Cal stuff kind of just doesn't really interest me a whole lot.
Okay, a 9.
Like
no,
it's nice.
I'm a 9.
Yeah, like that's why I was like, I'm going down to an 8, which of course. An 8.
I hate how every time I give my rating, you go with me first, and then you give me your explanation. I'm like,
and you go, all right, fair enough.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Whereas it is incredible. Don't get me wrong, it is incredible. It's an amazing like template for what Doctor episodes should be, and I love how it is like. You love the Russell T Davies era? Well, here's an extended trailer for the Moffat era, while also giving you a lot of Russell stuff. I love the way it's done like that. It's just it loses me in a couple places, and I have a couple more issues. I have a couple more issues than I do with a few episodes we've done recently.
You did sound like Forrest Gump there.
I was going to do it with Forrest Gump impression. I'm not going to even attempt it. Yeah, because I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives. I'm going to drop it down to an 8, but that is still an amazing score. So that's me.
I think I wrote 1 proper negative, and that was the way the CGI was done with Miss Evangelista when she was in the thing. Just do some prosthetics. You didn't have to make it this really shit.
Yeah, it doesn't
Snapchat filter.
It doesn't move, does it?
No, it's just a Snapchat filter.
You don't need to do CGI. Prosthetics would have been more effective. I also didn't like when the Doctor's dangling underneath the walkway thing. I was like watching it going, this isn't the end of Empire Strikes Back. We don't need this.
I quite liked it.
But
with his screwdriver in his mouth.
Yeah, it just goes a bit too action hero for me.
I like it. I like it when it goes a bit action hero.
Yeah, I do, but that was to me was a bit too far.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can do things like him jumping down that tunnel. Perfectly, that's an action hero thing. Perfectly fine with that. But dangling above a sky, like on a skyscraper with a big kind of music we've got. I was like, right, it's a bit too John McClane now.
It's very Tennant though. That feels very David Tennant, but less Doctor.
Yeah, I kind of.
I'd love doing that.
That's my only other negative. Yeah. So that's going to end that there. I think this is one of the longest files we've done for a while. I'm going to have fun editing that down. But yes, that's
9 out of 10 from me. Love
8
the
out of 10 from me.
And David Tennant is, I'll just mention David Tennant, incredible, amazing, always fucking
wonderful. Don't even
best
need
Doctor, favourite Doctor, and
don't even need to talk about that. Next week we are going to be doing the Doctor's wife. Finally off 2-parters. You have no idea what that episode is, do you? The one where the TARDIS comes to life.
I do know that one.
Yes, a Neil Gaiman one.
I was wondering why we're doing another River one, and then I realised another River one.
No, that was kind of the trick.
Did you see
I wondered if you'd fall for it, and you did. So, yeah, that's us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for listening.
And good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.